What's going on, guys? This is Joshua, Future Filmmaker Reviews. I talk movies, TV, and music. Now, as you can see here, you're seeing a little, see on the screen here because this is the continuation. I was supposed to done this after Phase 4 of this franchise ended, but a little delay on my end. But this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4 movies tier list. Now, I've done phase 1, 2, and 3 for a tier list, and I've done the TV shows that I've seen for a tier list. So, if you do, and yes, I am using my microphone to record my voice here. So, if you guys are new to the channel, all my socials and description box down below if you want to check those previous tiers out. This was the first half of the Multiverse saga, and Phase 4 has been one of the more divided entries of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because there was so much content coming out, and then some degrees ranges from good to great and bad to in the middle. But these are all the movies in the TV specials in the Phase 4 category. Some people are not going to count the specials, but I want to count the specials for completion's sake. We have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven movies and two TV specials. So you all know how the categories go. You got the top is Spider Verse worthy. Then you have the Epictastic Fun, not Epictastic, but still great. Not that big on in unworthy territory, and then the the weakest one for me is frustration at best. And there's none of these movies I flat out hate, but one of these movies you will find out later, and there will be time codes for this too. One of these movies frustrates me. Well, actually, two. So, with that being said, we're gonna start this off properly, and well, let's start with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This is going in the Spider Verse. I'm debating Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We're gonna start this off. I'm heavily debating which one do I want to put it in. Spider Verse worthy or Epictastic Fun, because I really did love this movie. I know some people were not the biggest fans of this, especially the decision to not recast T'Challa, which I'm perfectly fine with, because it's one of those movies that is very divided. But for me personally, I'm gonna put it in the. You know what? I'm gonna put it in the Spider Verse worthy. It's the Epitaphic Fun is almost Spider Verse worthy. Epitaphic Fun you go because I personally really do think this is a very strong follow up to Black Panther, while also having to honor the fallen lead of this franchise. And Ryan Coogler and filmmakers, they had a very difficult task to pull off. Having to deal with Chadwick Boseman's unfortunate passing and having to make this movie while without him. The pressure, I could not imagine the worst pressure they could have done. And I thought they did the best job they could in continuing the story while also saying goodbye to T'Challa. I thought the performances were really strong. I thought the characters were really strong. Hello? Oh, the characters were really strong. Ryan Coogler, his directing was very solid. Cinematography wise, this movie is beautiful, especially the underwater shots. You have the great villain Intanak Huerta as Namor, who we will be seeing again. Letitia Wright was great as Shuri. I'm fine with her being the new Black Panther for now. Right, you got Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Denai Guerrero. All of those actors are really good, but this is Angela Bassett's show. She's great in this. And if she does not walk away with the Best Supporting Actress at the Academy Awards, it would be a crying shame because that's how great she is. Especially her monologue in Wakanda, where she basically saying, "I've given everything to Wakanda," and the effects are way better here. it's not a lot of action. This is a 2 hour and 41 minute movie. This is 161 minutes long, so it's close to getting to a 3 hour runtime. So you definitely do have to have patience, especially for some of those moments you're going to be crying, some moments that are emotionally heavy, and in the end, the action you do get is very good. Again, I did have some issues with it. I did think the movie was a bit too long. There is some characters here you could have cut out, like Martin Freeman and Julia Louise Dreyfus's Val. They didn't really have a purpose. As someone who doesn't mind reading subtitles, there is a little bit too much subtitles, and it sounds like a broken record at this point, but I cannot freaking stand the character of Ironheart in this movie. One of the most obnoxious characters of the MCU. Now the actress does a good job. I just don't like the character of Ironheart. She's just female Iron Man. I'm not looking forward to her TV show on Disney Plus coming soon. But I do want to see more of the world of Wakanda in the third film. And if we get a third film, the post-credit scene is very beautiful. And the opening Marvel logo tribute with Chadwick was really beautiful. Also, Rihanna's song "Lift Me Up," beautiful song. That is Oscar nominated, and I do have a feeling Rihanna's gonna sing that at the Academy Awards this year, which is a beautiful song. Wakanda Forever, beautiful, emotional, important, and very good. Now we go from Epictastic to a movie that's not Epictastic but still great, but rather frustrating, and that is Black Widow, the first movie of Phase 4. I gave this a pretty positive review when it came out in 2021, but looking back at this movie, I have a little bit more frustrations with it. This is not a terrible movie. I am recommending this. I love Scarlett Johansson in this. Obviously, Scarlett Johansson, no matter what movie it is, Scarlett Johansson always brings her A game, and she is really pretty, really awesome. And if I could just describe Scarlett Johansson in one word, you have to look at this clip here. I do this all the time. So Scarlett Johansson does a very good job for her final send off, her final appearance as Black Widow. She also produced this as well. The problem with this movie is that it doesn't feel like it's appropriate for Phase 4. It feels like something you should have got in Phase 3 with Captain Marvel, which I know some people don't like that movie either, but I'm a heavy defender of Captain Marvel. This movie, it has good elements. The action is good. I love David Harbour as Red Guardian. Rachel Weisz was cool. Scarlett Johansson still whoops ass. There are some good effects, and I did like the spy elements of this. And Yelena Florence Pugh, she's serviceable. I don't love Yelena. I don't hate the character. Just like with Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop, I don't love that character, but I'm not hating her as much as I should be. What she is, however, is going. Is a character I'm gonna have to get used to, but I don't think I probably will because you can't top Scarlett Johansson. Now, if this was Natalie Allen Lind or someone like that, we would be fine. But Florence is a so good enough actress that I can kind of live with it. I'll see Thunderbolts, but biggest frustration is some of the Yelena stuff. There is some comedy here that doesn't land, especially one joke with Yelena's trying to say how they control spies with womanly things. I can't really describe it. It's in the movie if you know what I'm talking about. It's, and Taskmaster was a little bit underwhelming, but I'm willing to give Taskmaster a second chance in Thunderbolts. Olga Kurylenko plays her. I liked her more in The Princess last year with Joey King on Hulu and another movie I saw of her. But Black Widow, and there are some very iffy effects in this movie. So again, Black Widow, not fantastic, but still great. Oh man, oh my God! It's on Marvel's The Eternals. You can take a seat right at frustration at best because Of all the Phase 4 movies, even though I don't know much about the Eternals, I was still willing to give this movie the benefit of the doubt when it came out. I'm a guy, I want to be open minded. I'd rather see any more of the MCU stuff than any more after stuff. No offense to you after fans. I respect y'all for liking that, but I just don't see it. But Eternals, I wanted to give this movie a chance because it seemed like it could be the next big game changer of the MCU, taking it into some new directions and not having a lot of action in it for once. And while I fully admire every single ambition Chloe Zhao was trying to do, this is a movie I've watched twice. Once when it came out in November of the year it came out, and once in the year after, January 2022. And initially, I was pretty okay on it. But I sat on this movie for 24 to 26 hours straight, and I came to the realization that this was a frustrating movie. And as of right now, this is the worst MCU film and my least favorite MCU film. I know there's a lot of people who defend this movie. I know there's a lot of y'all who love this movie. And you know what? I'm I'm not going to take any of that away from you. You are allowed to watch this movie and enjoy it for what it is. But when I want to watch a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, I expect to see good characters, good story, and good action. While there is some good action to spread out, while I like the beautiful, while I appreciate the ambition you're trying to go for as far as talking about some more human themes like should we be saving people or being conflicted or what's right or wrong. While I appreciate all of that, and I don't have a problem with putting a black gay character in this movie. Because so all you people who is anti-phobic against the gay community in this movie for putting a gay character in this, y'all need to calm down because it's getting way over the blown at this point. And just honestly, I just y'all need to do this.
Stop acting so stupid!
That's what I have to say to most people. If you don't like gay characters in your films or TV shows, fine, but you don't have to freaking bully them so badly to the where they take their lives. I appreciate that there's a black gay character in this. Not a problem with me. We all have we're all human, right? And I like some of the characters in here. I like Angelina Jolie as Thena. She was my favorite part of this movie. I liked Richard Madden. I liked Brian Tyree Henry. Kamal Nanjiani needed more to do. So did Sprite and a few of these other characters. But the biggest elephant in the room for me, I said this when I reviewed this on my Letterboxd in January of last year. This needed to be at least 6 to 10 episodes of a mini series on Disney Plus because there's far too much stuff you're trying to throw in here. There's far too many things you're trying to talk about in here. And when you're tackling 10 different characters, it's very difficult to keep up. Trust me. Again, it's not a terrible movie. I respect what this movie was trying to do. This seriously confuses me why it turned out to be one of the biggest disappointments of last year. There was a lot of potential in this. You have an Oscar-winning director, a great cast, a story that could have worked, and this could have changed the game in Marvel doing something different. I appreciate the effort and the ambitions, but when it comes to the overall story of this movie, and especially the characters, but mainly the story, it is far too much to do in one film. And this would have benefited from either being a miniseries or a two-part movie because this movie, you would have enough time to flesh out all these characters and what this movie's trying to do. And also, this movie is 2 hours and 35 minutes, way too long for its own good, to the point where it becomes easily boring to get through. And if it's not the action. And you have the most disinteresting lead in Cersei, despite Gemma Chan's best efforts, and she does try. I just don't get a connection with her or her romance between Icarus. I would have been fine if you would have done a lot of things you did in the two-part film. If there is a sequel to this movie, I am begging you, take some ambition, take some chances, challenge some of these Eternals, make Thena the main lead instead of her being Cersei's little problem. Go in a different direction, have some more lightheartedness, and you should be fine and learn from your mistakes, or just don't do it at all. I spent long enough on this one. I'm just gonna move on to the next one, but I don't hate this movie at all whatsoever. It's just a very frustrating experience for me. So all in all, it's fine, but rather frustrating to say the least. Next up, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I didn't review this, but I thought it was fun. I thought this was very entertaining for a little holiday special with the Guardians of the Galaxy with Mantis and Drax taking over, and then you have Baby Groot, and of course you have some other fun characters here. So it's not a bad movie at all. Very short. I definitely appreciate the Christmas setting, and while you do miss Gamora here and few characters get underutilized here, I enjoyed it for what it was. I'll probably review it for Christmas in July or something, but Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, really cool. The other special is gonna be Werewolf by Night. I love this. This was really cool. I love this. You Marvel going into the horror side, and I loved every single minute of it. The only probably disadvantage is that I don't know if we're gonna get more of this. But Werewolf by Night, I thought was a very interesting experiment to see Marvel go in a more universal horror 1930s esque movie. Great practical effects. I love the characters here, especially the main character, Werewolf by Night, played by Gail Garcia Bernal. You got Laura Donnelly in this movie. The man thing looks really cool. There's some good blood for black and white, some good practical effects, and Michael Giacchino brought his A game here. So you definitely have to give credit to this. Again, it is only under an hour, so I do hope they're in the more horror-like scenario. I do hope they play with this a little bit more, so I can overall say I did love Werewolf by Night. I just wish it was a little longer, but it's really creative. And I did enjoy Werewolf by Night for what we got. It's entertaining to say the least. We're 18 minutes into this pre-record, so we only have four left. This is another frustrator. Marvel's Thor Love and Thunder, or Thor 4. I was looking forward to Thor Love and Thunder because it's the fourth movie of the Thor movies. Let me tell you something. I got new respect for Thor Ragnarok. Even though that is my least favorite one, I'm actually I actually do love it now, despite a lot of the issues with it. And Thor: Love and Thunder, definitely was looking forward to it. You had Chris Hemsworth coming back, Taika Waititi coming back to direct and star in this. And then, but the biggest standout was you were going to have Natalie Portman. come back as Lady Thor, and that should have been awesome from the get go. And I'll say this: Natalie Portman is great in this, and let's get the obvious one out of the way for her. So obviously, Natalie Portman is great in this. I loved Chris Hemsworth in it. So all the trailers made this out to be a really good movie. And also, you had Christian Bale in this movie, right? What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Unfortunately, just like with Marvel's The Eternals, this was another one of those movies in the MCU that frustrated me. I don't hate Love and Thunder. I'm just gonna get this out of the way now because I think a lot of y'all people gonna misinterpret what I'm saying here. What I don't like in this, I'll just start off with the things I like in this movie. Chris Hemsworth is still awesome to store. I do like the cinematography. It's a very gorgeous looking movie. There is some very good action pieces for what you get, especially one that's in black and white with color. Reminds me of a little bit of Flash Gordon with the mix of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And I like the action moments. There's some cool, there's some fun action, some good, there's a good musical score here, and for when the movie is taking itself seriously and it's actually being funny, I do like those moments. And when you do have your emotional moments here, it's fun. I would have done it in the bathroom, but I can't. But but what holds this movie back and what I do not like in this movie is the overusage of the comedy. I don't have a problem with MCU comedy. I don't have a problem with Taika Waititi having comedy, but this is a in terms of comedy, this is a big step down from Marvel's Thor: Love and Thunder. Because what worked in Thor Ragnarok was the comedy was blended pretty well. You had despite it being a MCU comedy, it was still managed to have some emotional moments, and that's what saved it from going into frustration. And that's what made me appreciate the movie way more. The Thor: Love and Thunder is just a very frustrating experience, and I hate saying this because on the negative side, this is where you can tell that the director Taika Waititi lets his ego get in the way. Yeah, that happened, and a lot of the comedy in this movie severely undercuts any important and emotional weight. Like the idea, you have ideas of Gore's motivation for doing what he's doing to get back to his daughter, or you have a god killing gods, and more interesting theological and philosophical elements going for her. Then you have Jane having cancer and how the store has to react to that. And the comedy and dramatic tones does not work as much as it did the first time, and it clashes very badly. And you kind of underutilized Christian Bale in this movie because he had a lot more sequences in this, and you should not have cut those out of the director's cut. Honestly, you made a pretty big mistake doing that. Also, the first 25 minutes are a bit rocky here, and the more I think about this, this should have been at least more the longest one. Or if you had to, or if you had to go comedic route, you should have kept more of the serious stuff that you kept there. Again, I don't hate Thor: Love and Thunder, but so many frustrations with this one. It's, so I can like Eternals is like background music, but should have been better. Should have been better. One of my biggest disappointments of last year, 2022. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Spider-Verse worthy. Loved Shang-Chi in the Legend of the Ten Rings. It was my favorite film of 2021. I loved the martial arts and the action style here. And the, the story here is very personal. You have a son fighting his own father in the terms of Mandarin. I loved that. You also have you also have some very good, well done fight choreography, some good martial arts in here. The story was personal. It wasn't so big, groundbreaking. I love the performances in this movie from Simu Liu and Aquafina and Mengr Zhang and Tony Leung is the Mandarin himself. I just rewatched this too on Disney Plus last month. So the effects are really good. There's some good subtitles. Michelle Yeoh's not in it as much, nor is Fala Chen, but the direction is also very strong. I like the new characters. Soundtrack was good. Mandarin was threatening here. Still top tier MCU film, and I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel and see what they do more with this character because Shang-Chi is well loved. I know some people don't like Shang-Chi either, but I thought this was very good. And can we get more of Xialing, please, in the future? Because that woman is a badass with a capital B and E. She's very easy on the eyes, and she's a mix of Lucy Liu and Maggie Q. And I'm just gonna have to use this clip again because this is how I personally feel.
Oh my God.
But overall, Shang-Chi is a fun Phase 4 film. Spider-Man No Way Home, the third of Tom Holland's new Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Verse movies, soon to get a fourth one. I really enjoyed No Way Home when it came out. I still do. Some people have kind of turned their back on this, but No Way Home is probably the best of this second best of this trilogy. It's very entertaining. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I like the fact that we go see a little bit into this multiverse hopping situation. I love the fact that you get to see Peter Parker going at his worst with dealing with his identity crisis and everyone knows who he is. There is some emotional stakes that goes on here, especially with Marissa Tomei's Aunt May and what happens to her in the middle of the movie. There is some emotional weight here. This is Tom Holland's best performance as Spider-Man yet. Benedict Cumberbatch was great. I did like the returning players from the first two movies. But the icing on the cake in this movie was seeing all the villains from the other incarnations, like Alfred Molina's Doc Ock, Jamie Foxx's Electro, who has a very funny moment here and a piece, of, very hintful piece of dialogue for the next one, which Marvel they're kind of setting up Miles Morales. We'll see how that goes when his Spider Verse sequel comes, if they're gonna take it further. You get the Green Goblin, William Defoe, Sandman, a little cameo by Venom in one of the crazy scenes, but this is a fun movie. You have Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange, some great effects, great score, great direction, and the fact that this managed to bring all three Spider-Man together in one movie, as well as seeing the multiverse Avengers get its start and not feeling convoluted, makes me very happy. I love seeing Andrew Garfield come back, but I really almost cry. I would basically cried to seeing Tobey Maguire Spider-Man come back. That was my favorite Spider-Man growing up, so it was good to see him back. And it was a fun experience. Watched the movie twice now. I have not seen the extended cut. I don't plan on it because I've heard there are some changes that weren't so great. But I did enjoy No Way Home enough to give it a recommendation, and I will probably pick this up. I still have to complete the MCU collection, even the bad, the frustrating ones. But No Way Home lived up to my expectations, and then you got a trailer for the next movie that I'm about to talk about. Also, we need to see Miles Morales soon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He could help out Tom Holland's Peter Parker a little bit. The multiverse is open, so there could be more Spider-Man showing up, especially him and Gwen Stacy and such. And I decided to save this one, best one, for last. And you guys already know where I'm going with this. This is my favorite MCU film. I still need to talk about it one more time in my best of 2022 videos eventually soon. Spider-Verse worthy, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, you can sit right there because this is going to be one of those movies I'm going to have to at least get a little talking about every time, especially if I do a live stream watching this in the commentary, because I do not, for the life of me, understand the hate and animosity towards this movie. It's not a lot of cameos. I get that. Not a lot of multiverse hopping. I understand that too. People say Strange feels like a side character in his own movie when he is clearly the main. It's the other way around. He's the main character of this movie. America Chavez is a plot device. I'll give you that. There is some weird, iffy writing decisions in scripts, especially with dialogue. Like, you break the rules, you're the good guy, but when I break the rules, that's not fair. Which is a good line, but it's very hypocritical on Scarlet Witch's part. Elizabeth Olsen, the Scarlet Witch part. And this movie could have used 10 extra 15 to 20 minutes long. But I do have this movie on 4K and Blu-ray. I've watched this movie multiple times since it came out. I have not rewatched it. I almost feel like rewatching it now, talking about it. Watched this twice when it came out in the theater. Watched it again when it hit Disney Plus, and I watched it for October, for Halloween month, because this is classified as a horror movie. I just enjoy seeing a Sam Raimi Marvel Cinematic Universe superhero horror movie. You have all the trademarks that he's known for, like the camera trickery and the close-up shots, and there's a little bit of Evil Dead Sam Raimi in this, especially towards the end with the cliffhanger ending. You have you do have multiverse cameos. They do go to the multiverse a little bit. Sachito Gomez is America Chavez. I know that character is gay in the comics, but I thought she did fine in the role. Chiwetel Ejiofor, he's good. Should have been a little more. It's good seeing Rachel McAdams again for this. Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange. That guy is the man, is Doctor Strange. You're not going to find a different casting choice than him. He gets Doctor Strange down to a team. I basically say he's like the Harry Potter of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And with me being a massive Harry Potter fan, I think that's gratefully needed. Action in this movie is good. This movie is not afraid to get pretty violent for PG-13, especially gory. So if you're sensitive to gore or blood, don't watch this, because this is. But it gets bloody, it gets gory. It's not afraid to get violent too, especially with Scarlet Witch. She's basically a horror icon. Picking up where we left off with her in WandaVision, with her acting evil because of she's being controlled by the Darkhold. Elizabeth Olsen gives one of her best performances as Scarlet Witch. What more can I say about Elizabeth Olsen that hasn't already been said in this movie? She is a great actress. She's my favorite actress of all time. She's my main favorite celebrity crush, obviously. And her costumes as the Scarlet Witch are pretty.
Who cares?
But here in Multiverse of Madness, Wanda does not play around. And it literally takes her until she realizes that she's done wrong and she's becoming the very thing she says she's not for her to realize what she's done. And no, this character, Scarlet Witch, she's not dead. If you see the scene in the movie, there's a red light. And plus, Kevin Feige and Elizabeth Olsen has recently said at a convention that she wants to do more with this character. So at some point, I do hope we get to see a Scarlet Witch movie, or a Scarlet Witch trilogy, because I would definitely be there on day one, and I would love to see her interact with the X Men, like some of her X Men friends, or interact with Magneto and fight him. Again, problems aside, I totally understand a lot of the criticisms y'all be holding at this movie. But for me personally, it's awesome. Like I said, extra could have been extra 20 minutes longer. The cameos could have been a little stronger. Wanda is a little frustrating. Scarlet Witch is a little frustrating, a little bit. And this is me as a Scarlet Witch guy. I was like, I love you, girl, but sometimes throughout this movie, you are being a little bit frustrating for me and a little bit obnoxious, and just listen to somebody and think about what you're doing. I won't know for sure if that's gonna stick with her learning from her mistakes till next time we see her, but him calling her out on her bullshit with Westview and using the Darkhold and holding 300 more people hostage, I love that part. But with Wanda, it's understandable her motivations that she's doing. At some point this year, probably on my birthday month, I would love to do a live stream without watching this movie. So, but other than that, there's a lot more good in this movie than bad. And I want to see more of the horror side of the MCU between this, Moon Knight to a certain extent, and Werewolf by Night, and the upcoming Blade movie. I like the fact Marvel is gonna embrace the scary movie side. So all in all, Multiverse of Madness is an amazing movie, and my mom even liked the movie too. So let's look through this and make sure I'm correct. You have Spider Verse worthy. You have Multiverse of Madness, Werewolf by Night, Shang-Chi, and No Way Home. I'm actually gonna put No Way Home right there next to MOM. Epictastic Fun, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Holiday Special, the Wakanda Forever, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Again, great film. Not epictastic, but still great. Black Widow, Frustration at its best. Thor: Love and Thunder and Eternals. I, but yeah, I'm actually gonna switch Eternals and say I'm not really that big on it, because the more I think about Eternals, the more frustrating it gets. And I've only seen this movie twice. But who knows? There's going to be a sequel supposedly coming, despite people not really loving it all that much. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose in this Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that's all Phase 4, and until Phase 5, y'all, that's all. But to me, the weakest one is Marvel's Eternals. The frustrating one, Thor: Love and Thunder, and the top three best are Wakanda Forever, Spider-Man: No Way Home, and the Multiverse of Madness. But there you go, Phase 4.